but it's in our country right now. We're experiencing deja vu all over again. And we're going to dive into that right after this break.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله.
Our often repeated prayers,
Although we may be different,
yet similar.
As we reach out to our,
we offer all praise.
And we seek forgiveness.
We ask for peace in our hearts, in our minds, and in our spirits. Amen.
Baseball great, Hall of Famer, legend, and comes up in just about everyone who knows baseball, his stats and techniques, and developing a superpower, which we call the New York Yankees. The great Yogi Berra made an important and incredible and life-changing quote. He said, "It's just like deja vu all over again." Well, significance in that is the simple fact of him using the word to describe the word to describe the actual action and sentiment. Although it showed that he had incredible ignorance. But if you look deeper, you see the brilliance of it. Deja vu all over again. Einstein said that insanity is the same person doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And deja vu, and what our country is experiencing is that people are following the pattern of failure because it appears to be successful and they're duplicating it. In every last state, we're experiencing deja vu. 48 states are now changing laws or have changed laws to restrict, make difficult, and actually eliminate the black vote in their state. Deja vu all over again. The great state of Arizona, which had one of my favorite Republicans, John McCain, is experiencing the big lie. Because of the big lie, Arizona is still investigating the ballots, costing millions to the taxpayer. Because first they sent in the cyber ninjas, a quote unquote third party group not registered with the Arizona State Voting Board in terms of handling election machines or ballots. So they investigated, ran through the pace, did ballot check after ballot check with test ballots to ensure the accuracy of the ballots, which Donald Trump lost. Found nothing. They were supposed to have this investigation done with in May. They found nothing. And the state of Arizona still had to move the ballots from one place to another place because now they're following the big lie that the original ballots, because it's not the machines that are broken, it's the ballot. Now, the original ballots were shipped in from China or some Asian country. And those fake ballots were entered into the machines. So the machines aren't wrong, it's the ballots. But they can't find the original ballots that they replaced with the Asian ballots because they were shredded and fed to a chicken farm, which were destroyed because the chickens caught on fire. the big lie. So now, at the behest of millions of dollars, because the machines in which the third party cyber ninjas, investigated and ran through the paces to find out there were nothing wrong with the machine, they can't be used. No, they have now been compromised and tampered. So the state of Arizona has to pay for millions of taxpayer dollars, millions of your hard-earned dollars, to now buy new machines. Now we are into July, which May they were supposed to be done, which sets the big lie up that President Trump would be restored to power in August. Doesn't look like that date's going to happen there, people, but I digress. So the state of Arizona is now causing Wisconsin to have a deja vu moment. Well, why? Well, now the big lie has now infiltrated the state of Wisconsin, and it's being led by former state Supreme Court Justice Michael Gaberman. Now, here he is at the Trump Stop Steal rally, and he was appointed by the Republicans in the state of Arizona. In fact, they appointed him with $44,000 of your either tax dollars or donated to politician dollars to oversee the investigation. And wait a minute, to ensure that he's doing a good job and that it's going to be a fair and impartial investigation, he got two former police officers, Detective Mike Sandvik and Detective Sergeant Steve Page. Oh, by the way, this is how impartial these guys are. One of them, I'm not going to mention the officer's name, has been officially banned from coming within 300 feet of any polling place in the state of Wisconsin. So why would you ask what a police officer, a man who is supposed to be fair and impartial, who is supposed to uphold the law, why would he be banned? Why would he have a restraining order? You know, the restraining orders that women get on their boyfriends who don't know how to break up because it's over and they don't realize that it's over and they still want it to continue. Deja vu all over again. Okay, why does he have a restraining order? Well, he was going around passing out bogus pamphlets stating to all the voters that the election was rigged. I digress. Deja vu all over again. While we're looking at, now Deja Vu and members of the Deja Vu group that we on this show call the Cult of 45, one of its rising stars and members of the Cult of 45 is none other than Pennsylvania State Republican Senator Doug Mastriano. There he is. Oh, sound familiar? Yes. Well, and let's look at it, because in January 6th, here he is again. This is him at the January 6th insurrection. Now, he should be arrested, right? Because here's a lawmaker believing the big lie and protesting to overtake our government. A man that's in government overtaking the government because 45 can't admit that he lost and it was stolen and they needed to stop the certification so that 45 can stay in power. So here he is, a member of that cult, right? You voted for him, Pennsylvania. Good choice. So you remember him, right? Not only for that, but here he is at the super spreader event where he went with Donald Trump, met with him, had dinner with him, at the events with him, and tested positive for COVID. So he is all up in 45 and the cult. Now, again, attacking the Capitol. This state representative, this Republican, this man of good integrity and character, he has now asked all 81 of Pennsylvania counties to hand over their ballots and voting machines for an Arizona-style cyber ninja forensic investigation. Go figure. So why is he doing this? Why is he such a Trump loyalist? Well, let's look at it. Pennsylvania Senator Doug Mastriano is more than likely going to run for Pennsylvania governor. And he is, of course, in Pennsylvania, he is one of the leaders. He's the biggest leader of the Stop the Steal movement. And in the Stop the Steal movement and helping 45 be reinstalled by the August deadline, he has now put in a threat that if they do not submit them, he would subpoena them, their ballots, their voting machines. He's going to subpoena them for this investigation that more than likely will now give millions and millions and millions in tax increases to pay for this cyber investigation because the cyber ninjas don't work for free, to do the same thing, stall everything. Well, here's this problem. One of the biggest problems that he has is that Pennsylvania State Attorney General, Mr. Shapiro, who his response, and I'm not going to give it to you in verbatim, but he basically called Mastriano his threats to be a status non gratis. In fact, he was on CNN saying that they could come up with all that craziness, but to do that, they had to go through him. So he's going to do everything in his power to stop the steal, bullcrap, the big lie. Ending the Daja Vu. Lead. What we need right now is more people in office to stand up to the big lie instead of cowering down to the pressures of Trump. And, to this day, I really can't understand how much pressure does a loser have? I mean, really, truly, loser. How much pressure does this loser have, an influence that he has that he's getting states to now succumb to this so that he can be reinstated? Really? He lost. He is no threat. He's no harm. He should be in Mar-a-Lago getting in as much golf as he can because pretty soon he's going to be in an orange jumpsuit. Can't believe it. Cannot believe it. See, and the worst thing about it is that Senator Doug, is taking time and energy away from Pennsylvania Attorney General Shapiro, who is busy right now. I mean, he's doing what's right for the people. I mean, he's got criminal cases and prosecuting, like Bradford County District Attorney Chad Salzman, who he is prosecuting now for the Me Too movement. Yes, he is going after the big fish. He is the Bradford County District Attorney who they have multiple counts of sexual harassment. Yes, but when he was an attorney, he represented women who, some of them were drug abusers, some of them were former drug abusers, some of them were fighting for custody of their children. He basically intimidated them to have sex with him. Loser. Why? First of all, a woman's body is her own, and she has the right to do whatever she wants. She has the right to have sex with whoever she wants. She has the right to do that under her own power, her own will. When you hold something in a quid pro quo matter, or Latin for something, it cheapens the effect, causing incredible emotional damage to that woman. And they're already hurt and already crippled. And so this is an abuse of power, and he should be prosecuted for that. digress. Now, we're going to come back and look at Deja Vu all over again. And we're going to do that right after this break.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله.
Our often repeated prayers,
Although we may be different,
yet similar.
as we reach out to our Creator,
we offer all praise.
And we seek forgiveness.
we ask for peace in our hearts and in our spirits. Amen.
Welcome back, all of our friends on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, and our Hulu channel. Now, we left, and it's Deja Vu all over again. With Deja Vu all over again is happening everywhere in our country. Well, today, Deja Vu is another celebration. Today is the 200th year celebration of the statehood of Missouri. 200 years. Congratulations, Missouri. Now, an incredible thing about Missouri is that during the height of COVID, they went through great pace to ensure that everyone would have a great time, enjoy. No, they didn't. They basically locked everybody down. But what they also did was enact laws to now change liquor stores or bars to do actual pickup, drive-through, and carry out. Great for business there. But 200-year celebration today. Incredible that their 200-year celebration and what it means to them is running into some issues. One, we're looking at Missouri only has 40% of the state vaccinated. 40%. And that 40% with just one vaccination. The other thing is that at 40% now, the spread of the Delta variant, which is 20 times more contagious and severe with longer hospital stay and longer long-haul effects of COVID, is running rampant. Right now, Steve Edwards of Cox Health has put out an APB for respiratory workers to come and to help them. Why? Well, it went from dropping to now 30 patients, and then yesterday, now 90 patients needing respiratory care. Now, not only that, but the president has decided to send a COVID surge team. You see the difference of a real president where Trump would said, the virus is a hoax, it's going away. President Biden did what Obama did, put together an advanced team to go in to stop the spread. And recently, Dr. Anthony Fauci had stated, and this is to be very true, he said that the states are heading for what's in a bifurcated response and the bifurcation response is the states with high vaccine rates are returning to normal, where the states with low vaccine rates are entering into the new Delta wave. Deja vu all over again. Possible shutdown, Because one, people, especially people in the Republican states, are still believing the big lie. So therefore, everything that they've done in terms of masking, distancing, hospitalization, self-care, self-help, everybody going around buying masks and toilet paper, like toilet paper is really going to help you in a pandemic, and to stop the spread. Now, they believed that, and they also started believing in the anti-vaxxers, this group of idiots who are telling you that the vaccine is fake and that the vaccine causes more harm than good. The anti-vaxxers have been combing social media to find anybody who had any effect or any type of thing, including death. They've exploited Hank Aaron because he took the vaccine and he died. He had conditions. That's the reason he took the vaccine. The conditions the vaccine had no cause of his death. But they exploited that to have people not take a vaccination. I don't understand. Why do you have a belief in someone who's telling you that what's going to help you is bad for you? When I was younger, and my mother made me eat my vegetables, which I didn't like, she said, eat them because they're good for you. And she forced me to eat them because they're good for me, because they would help me. That's what people do. That's what adults do. They get you to have a better quality of life and get you to a higher level of performance and self-awareness. So, I digress. Now, the state of Missouri, in their 200-year celebration, is now at the point of facing another COVID wave. Not only the residents, but the state of Missouri also has a large population of American natives or natively born in America, generations after generations after generations. We're not talking about natively born Americans who migrated from European countries. We're talking about people that other loser, Christopher Columbus, called Indians. By the way, American Indians got their name because Columbus thought when he landed here in North America that he was in India. Go figure. Yeah, he deserves a day. But I digress. So now that population itself is in danger. And we're talking about very rural areas where we're talking miles and miles and miles just to get to one hospital being overran now because the Delta virus spreads way faster than the COVID or 19 variant. So they're now at the point of deja vu, like New York. Remember Governor Cuomo begging for ventilators, and Trump said he was sending them to him, never got them. Begging for personal protection equipment for our first responders, never got them either. Begging for him to mandate buy masks from China and ship them because China was exploiting everybody with the mask buying because they were the quote unquote largest manufacturer and shipper of those. That never happened either. But anyway, so that right now is what the state of Missouri is facing. Low vaccine rates. Look, people, everybody's trying to get back to normal. And I've been saying this since the beginning. Screw the normal. What we need to do is get back to a new norm. Because all of the things that people are trying to get back to didn't work for Black people anyway. Especially, the school systems when they said that, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because the Black schools were underfunded and they didn't have things like laptops for the kids. Oh, you want to get back to normal? No. We need to get back to better. Or as President Biden said, build back better. So if we're getting back to it, then let's take away all of the failures because I'm tired of the deja vu all over again with the failed school systems. Let's take away all the failures because I'm tired of the deja vu because you keep electing the same do-nothing Democrats and rotten Republicans. Let's take away all of this and build back better. One of the other things that we should do in terms of build back better is let's eliminate the filibuster. It's not a rule of the Senate, nor is it a law. It's a position. It's a courtesy. And it's something that was designed to stop the progression of blacks in civil rights. It was designed to stop the progression of blacks during the post-slavery Reconstruction. It was designed to stop the Senate from passing things that can help people. So why do we still adhere to that? Why do we still vote for people who believe that it should remain? Like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Deja vu all over again. This woman can't seem to shut up long enough to get the heat off of her. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the great Republican. She just can't stop calling people that oppose her Nazis. Now, remember, they forced to apologize to suggesting that Nancy Pelosi's mask mandate that everyone in the Capitol were to wear a mask. She mandated that. She just apologized for calling that mandate. It was similar to the Jews during the Holocaust period having to wear the Star of David. Now, nothing whatsoever. Star of David basically meant that you were the next target to go to your death, where the mask protects you from your life. Star of David meant that, the Nazis or anybody could victimize you, where since you wore it, you weren't even considered a human being, which means that, women in the middle of the streets could be pulled over and raped, or men could be killed or harassed or anything they wanted to do because you had the Star of David. But yet she considered that mask to be just the same thing. Well, here she is making another statement. President Biden talked about increasing our COVID vaccinated by doing from door to door, sending medical personnel in to talk to people, to express to them, the implications or the dangers of believing the anti-vaxxers versus the reward of taking the vaccine, right? What did she says? Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, people have a choice. They don't need your medical brown shirt showing up at their door ordering vaccinations. You can't force people to be part of the human experience. Oh, by the way, brown shirts is the term in what they called the Nazi paramilitarized organization, because they wore brown shirts, and they also did a lot of those crazy things that we talked about. But she's talking about people and their rights and doing what they want to do, and the government overreaching with their medical experiment. Well, I didn't see any comment from Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about when the government overstepped and is wrongdoing against Black people. No. That word never came. None of those incidents ever came out of her mouth. I never heard Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about the Blacks in the Carolina Sterilization Project. Did any of y'all hear that? No, we didn't hear Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about the harm and the wrong of the Tuskegee syphilis experiments. The government. No, it didn't come out of her mouth. Nothing. This woman is so disingenuous. She wouldn't know the truth if it slapped her in the face. And I'm really surprised that people don't take to this poop. Like, really, you don't have anything to do with your hard-earned money. Really, that you would give it to that poop. Really? We're going to come back. Talk about deja vu all over again. Right after this break. 2 minutes. 2 seconds.
Dr. Laura Lewis has over 15 years of experience in helping couples heal by building trust, cultivating intimacy, and enhancing communications. Her book, Marital Peace, is a valuable tool to support couples through the challenges of marriage. Her therapeutic approach is influenced by worldwide training in Brazil, Mexico, London, and Hades. Watch for her Fridays on Roku and YouTube. That's Couples Therapy with Dr. Loa Lewis.
Welcome back. Hey, listen, for those of you who are TV, but President Biden putting an end to the ever-ending wars over 2 decades or close to that. We have been engaged in the war in Afghanistan. Now, he wanted to put him on a timeline where he wanted the complete evacuation of American troops by September. Well, here we are, July, and over 80% of the troops have been evacuated out of Afghanistan. However, according to U.S. laws of naturalization, we have a big problem. The biggest problem that we have is that our allies are still in Afghanistan. If we're not going to have another Daja Vu moment, like when Donald Trump pulled our troops out and left the Kurds, looking like a bunch of slapped behinds. After we pulled out, of course, they came in and invaded and started killing Kurds left and right. The biggest victims of that new invasion, once American forces had pulled out of our allies, were the translators, the drivers, our helpers, and their families. So with us having 80% of the troops pulled out, the Taliban has already started on their advancements. I mean, they are just running rampant through Afghanistan right now. And as more American troops pull out, more of our allies, people who have been helping us for decades, and their families have been walking around with big targets on their heads. There was reports of one translator where the Taliban threw a grenade through his family's window, killing his brother. I mean, and here is the big problem. In terms of U.S. law and bringing them to the United States, they have to go through a waiting process to become natural citizens, to have asylum. Yet we get our biggest group of immigrants without naturalization papers who just jump on a plane from Europe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Just come into the United States and disappear. Yet we can't help those who have helped us. Finally, some great genius in our democracy, they came up with a quote unquote solution. What they did was take our allies, our translators, our drivers, the workers, and they sent them right now into Guam. Yeah, Guam, a U.S. territory. Not quite U.S., but it is a territory. And they'll have them there. Why? While they wait for their U.S. citizenship. So, you see what's going on right now? Where Democrats are thinking of solutions and Republicans are pushing the lie. I mean, it's like we got two countries. I mean, we got a red country and a blue country. But I won't digress. Big ups. State of New York. Governor Cuomo yesterday passed a law allowing the New York Attorney General, on behalf of the victims who have been suffering through gun violence, to sue the gun manufacturers. Great. And everybody is all happy about that. However, In 2008, Congress and the Senate, with the help of lobbyists and dark money, passed a federal law that shields and protects gun manufacturers. Now, keep in mind, for those of you who don't know the law, that law, now, it does not protect them for things like, product damage or product malfunction, but it does protect them from suing them from people who die at the hands of these guns that they manufacture. Now, they passed a law in the 80s that you can sue tobacco manufacturers. Yeah, because tobacco, cigarettes, causes cancer, billions of dollars in cancer. And the tobacco manufacturers weren't as smart as gun manufacturers. They didn't have as many lobbyists or make a lot of campaign donations. No. So they basically said, okay, you can sue them. And through the money of the lawsuits that every state does against a tobacco manufacturer, the states use that money to do things like in Pennsylvania, CHIPS, children insurance, is basically comes from giving free medical care to children from that money of suing, the tobacco manufacturers. The is also a big part of the lawsuit. It covers a great deal of expense that people have who are going through cancer treatment. Believe me when I tell you, I went through cancer. It's not cheap. So that takes the burden off of those families, suing the manufacturers. Yet this law gives gun manufacturers a hall pass to not take responsibility of those actions. Let's look at this. Now, there's going to be a lawsuit coming up, of course, because, we've got federal law. But I believe, I'm not saying that I know, I believe, I'm saying my opinion, I believe that right now, Homo is looking at the simple thing that the Supreme Court just upheld in terms of states' rights. In our Constitution, every state has the autonomy to not follow federal law and govern what is best for their states. That's why, there are Supreme Courts and states are allowed to do things like change voting rights or make it hard or voter suppression or red line or redistricting, allowing certain people to remain in power or certain people to gain wealth or certain people to eminently domain your property. State rights to self-govern. So we're looking at this battle coming into play. Now, in terms of Americans and Deja Vu, we have that wonderful gift of looking at models and copying it. So if New York is successful at this, and I'm hoping that they are, because New York has also been successful in taking down the NRA. Governor Cuomo. New York has also been successful and undefeated in going after 45. All right, DA. So we're hoping that New York's legal team is successful in taking on this challenge of their state having the right to now, because we can't get our congressmen and our senators to pass laws to protect people getting guns out of people's hands or keeping guns away from people who are suffering from mental illnesses, and people people who are unsuccessful in things and taking the ultimate I'm winning this argument with a gun, then maybe we should start We need manufacturers for, putting these things in harm's way. Yes. And yeah, I saw the note on my social media. Oh, no, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Well, yeah, that's partially right. But people kill people with guns. And if they didn't have guns, yeah, there are some people who would find other ways to kill people. However, if, we sit up here in our American culture, the gun has been the winner of America. The revolution. You think they won that by rocks? Really? The gun. The West. We've got thousands and thousands of movies of how the West was won with a gun. It was used to get the Native Americans off their land. The West, I mean, it was won by a gun. We sit up here and use it as a phallic symbol of, power and strength and might, the gun, in which the manufacturers prosper from greatly. There is no reason that somebody should be able to buy an assault rifle and say that they're using it for hunting. What we've been having, and here's another thing, another quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who can't seem to keep her mouth shut. Another stupid thing she said, I don't believe there's no such thing as an American terrorist. Really? What do you call people who, Americans, who decide to go and shoot up a synagogue? They're not terrorists. Okay, who do you call Americans that, decide to go into an AME church during Bible study, shout out, I hate y'all ends, and start shooting up people? Oh, no, they're not terrorists. That's not a terroristic act. Okay, maybe. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to agree with you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. We shouldn't call them terrorists. You know what we should call them? Losers. Yes, like the loser who basically loaded up a bunch of assault weapons and brought anti-bumper stops so that it consistently rapid fires, goes and loses his money in a casino and decides to therefore shoot innocent people. Loser, like the group of people January 6th, because their cult leader 45 lost the election and decided to go and attack the Capitol, yelling, hang Mike Pence, and we're coming for you, Nancy Pelosi. Losers. Like the gentleman who decides that, we need to keep Mexicans out of our border, so I'm going to get my gun and go to Walmart and start shooting Hispanics. Loser! Like the gentleman who decides that, he's going to go and get his gun and start shooting up Asian parlors and spas. Loser! You're right. We shouldn't call them terrorists. But you know what? They shouldn't. We'll be right back after this break. Yes, 2 minutes.
You opened a small business. That's a great way to have generational wealth. If you're a minority business, you may be struggling to keep your head above water. Why? In 2019, the Black community spent $1.5 trillion because the Black dollar lifespan, 28 days Asian communities, 19 days Jewish communities, 6 hours a month in the Black communities. Major brands target the Black media, TV, and radio. That's why Blacks are brand shoppers. That's why they get a big slice of that $1 trillion pie. Your business needs exposure. You got quotes from cable networks and local radio. They charge a lot of money for a little exposure. Networking and social media is a full-time job to get part-time money. Let's look at a successful Black business model. Remember Soul Train? It was a new Black TV show that Johnson Cosmetics increased the exposure of Afro Sheen and made billions of dollars for Bobby Johnson. Where are you going to find a good show for a low price? We have a talk show called What You Got to Say. What You Got to Say is a Black-owned talk show streaming live on YouTube channels, Facebook Live. What You Got to Say has a diverse audience from 18 to 62 years old, and their gross income range from $32,000 to $122,000 a year. That exposure will get you a good slice of the $1.5 trillion. Tell us about your business. Maybe able to get on our Black-owned spotlight. In 4 weeks, your business can go from surviving to thriving. To find out how you can get what's yours, email sales@squiresignage.com. They're waiting to hear what you got to say.
Now, our Republicans are going through deja vu all over again. They keep doing the same thing. We keep experiencing the same thing, the results of their deja vu. Yet the Democrats are making changes, making policies, making laws. One, we have Congresswoman Katie Porter. Right now, she is searching for money for her pilot program. Her pilot program she's looking for is a national grant to reduce police shootings. We've experienced a great deal of police shootings and a whole lot of Black Lives Matter. One, primarily because police are not very equipped in de-escalating, nor do they have the clinical training to de-escalate what we've been experiencing, a whole lot of mental health crisis. Where in Philadelphia, someone had a mental health crisis. Excuse me. And because of that, he had a knife and the police shot him, as much as his family and friends were standing in front of him and telling the police not to shoot him. Yet, Black men experiencing mental health crises get shot. What did they do with the white guy with the mental health crisis? Well, they tackled him. But to help that out, she is following the model set in Philadelphia. Because after the incident in Philadelphia, one of the people hugely responsible was Dr. H. Gene Wright, clinical psychologist and pathological studies. He also came up with the de-escalation plan. And one of the things in which they are modeling this after is the simple fact that the 911 call goes to different branches. For a mental health crisis, the first responder should not be a police officer with a gun. The first response should be a social worker that drives up there. And for that crisis, we're talking about someone who is professionally able to de-escalate a situation and to help people get the help that they need rather than shooting them. The other part of that bill, majority of this is in the George Floyd Act, which is stalled. So maybe we should still make some calls about getting rid of that filibuster so that we can get this act into law. One of the things is that the police carrying non-lethal weapons. Tasers. Yeah. Well, we find that, the Taser Act does increase and police tend to draw them a lot more now that they have them to settle their differences, but it's non-lethal. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but they don't. The other thing that we have to look at in terms of this act and getting social workers out there is de-escalation is generally the key. De-escalation because people tend to know the outcome, but they don't seem to have a way out of that outcome. And with Blacks dealing with police, there are 3 outcomes. One, the police beat you up. 2, the police kill you. Or 3, the police basically take you to jail. Now, most of the time, with some of the police in our nation dealing with people of color, you're going to jail. Yes. But the other 2, has a huge consequence, huge, incredible consequences against Black people. Um, you're looking at the disruption of lives and livelihoods. You're looking at the basically destruction of the family, of the Black family, dealing with that consequence. So the ability to have a trained professional there to de-escalate that moment is huge in keeping Black lives alive or decreasing police shooting unarmed Black men. Let's get at some consideration. Let's see what we can do to support Congresswoman Katie Porter in her efforts to find money. Let's see if these Republicans are going to be obstructionists and stand in the way of that. We'll be right back with final thoughts right after this break.
Dr. Laura Lewis has over 15 years of experience in helping couples heal by building trust, cultivating intimacy, and enhancing communications. Her book, Marital Peace, is a valuable tool to support couples through the challenges of marriage. Her therapeutic approach is influenced by worldwide training in Brazil, Mexico, London, and Haiti. Watch for her Fridays on Roku and YouTube. That's Couples Therapy with Dr. Laura Lewis.
It's like deja vu all over again. We have to look in terms of building back our country. And as we're coming out of this pandemic and we're building back our lives, let's not build back in a deja vu. Let's build back better. Let's look at some of the things that we have been experiencing before the pandemic and how they weren't working. And let's come to the admittance of the truth. It ain't working. I don't care how hard you try. I don't care how much money you throw on it. My ex-wife, love her dearly. No matter how hard I tried, that marriage wasn't working. No matter what I did, that marriage wasn't working. It didn't start, I didn't start growing as a person until I let go the failed ideology that it was going to work. It wasn't going to work. All it was two people being miserable. The ideology that we're dealing with right now, it's not working for us. No matter how hard we try, it's not working for us. No matter how much money our tax dollars throw at it, it's not working. If we're going to build back, don't put ourselves back into a situation of deja vu, where we're in something that's not working all over again. Let's admit the mistakes that we've made, the mistakes that we voted for, the mistakes that we've associated with, the mistakes that they're doing that we've been covering up, the mistakes in our lives, and come to the admittance that it's not working. Once we get to there, then we can move on and build back better. That will keep us out of these deja vu scenarios. I applaud our Democrats for thinking, moving, and doing things that are changing so that we build back better. I applaud those doctors who have been talking to their patients. In fact, we should implement, instead of government officials, we should just have our doctors call people, because the COVID virus is still killing people. Yet we've got more vaccine than we've got people taking the vaccine. It doesn't make sense. We're about to go into deja vu in terms of lockdown all over again. Mask wearing. You guys remember what that's like. Going to Walmart, there's no toilet paper. Let's avoid this deja vu all over again. Doctors, please call your patients. Ask them, have they taken the vaccine? Talk to them about it. Let them know how safe it is. And you can dispel some of the myths and rumors and lies of the anti-vaxxers. People, if you believe the anti-vaxxers, then put it up to someone who's in the medical field. Call your doctor. Ask them, is it safe? Ask him what the risks are. Ask him, can you survive? And then ask yourself, if you caught COVID,